It's the kind of confidence that makes other people feel like they can have that too. And I don't know why I'm going to cry. Because this is my whole message. This is everything that I've been meaning to say since the day I started this podcast, and things that I've been afraid to say because I didn't know how. Because I didn't want to piss anybody off. I don't want to get into arguments. I don't want to sit here and tell someone else that they're wrong, and I don't want anyone else to tell me that I'm wrong. I want us to understand each other. I want us to be able to move forward the way that we're supposed to. Because we all want the same things. This is the Energy Within podcast, helping you to embrace your weirdness, find the confidence to be your true self, and step into your soul's purpose. My name is Carrie Jokala. I am your host. I am a Reiki master teacher, a fitness instructor, a wife, a mom to the 2 little boys you hear in the background. And this is episode 145. And it's probably going to be a little more serious than normal, yet hopefully still uplifting and inspiring. So we're not going to talk specific issues or politics or positions or views or anything like that, but we are going to address the fact that there's a lot of stress being caused by the multitude of frustrating and even horrible things that go on in this world. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have seen my stories. It was about the middle of last week, and I was just having a moment, and I decided to be vulnerable and share a little bit about how I was feeling. And I also pulled a few cards. First, the ones that I pulled were for myself from last week, but I shared 2 of them. One just because it was interesting what it said on the front of the card. And the second one, I just felt like it was also supposed to be a message for the collective, and I still feel called to share it on here just in case you're not following me on Instagram and you missed it. And if you're not following me on Instagram, what are you even doing with your life? I do encourage you to follow me. Make sure you follow the new page, I am Carrie Jokala. You'll find the link for that in the show notes. And if you are inspired or anything is awakened in you from this episode, please share it. Post it to your Instagram, share a screenshot, even go ahead and share some audio, and just make sure you tag me. And again, make sure you tag the new page, I am Carrie Jokala. And then I also did pull 2 more cards. I think one more pertinent than the other, but they're both relevant, specifically for the episode today. So I shared on my stories last week just about how I wonder if, and I hope that this is what it means, that maybe I'm going through another shift, another level of ascension or awakening or something like that, raising my vibration, like my set point vibration, because I have noticed, in a way, a sense of loneliness again, but also that I'm kind of viewing that in myself from the outside, if that makes any sense. That it doesn't quite bother me so much, but I notice that I feel it. And to explain just a little more without going into any specific details, I have noticed that I really am different, even from other people in like this spiritual space. And some of my beliefs are different. There's a lot that is the same, that matches what other people who you might follow would say about certain things. And then some of them from those points, the way I further break those beliefs down and what they mean and how they relate to other things gets very different. Like the umbrella topic is the same, but then things sometimes change after that. And I'm totally okay with it, but I'm just really realizing how different I truly am. And I think that's a good time to share the first card that I had pulled for myself, which is, they're all from the Starseed Oracle, all the ones we're going to talk about today. It says, "You're not for everyone." And the first line underneath that is, "Embrace your weirdness." Exactly that. I have not pulled cards from this deck in months. I don't even know when the last time was that I pulled a card from this deck. It's been a long time since I've been drawn to this one. Not that I don't like it anymore. I just haven't felt quite called to it for whatever I've had questions about. And yeah, so it says, "Embrace your weirdness, face your true north." So I'm like, okay, I'm on the right path here. But also still human, still have the ability to get frustrated and stressed out about things and have the need to talk it out with people. And don't take this personally if you're someone who knows me on a personal basis. We see each other often, we talk, maybe we're family, I don't know. But to be completely transparent, I'm not sure that I have one person that I know that I can go to about everything. I have people that I feel I can go to for the majority of things, maybe even 99% of things, but not everything, because of the fact that things branch off a little bit for me with the way I see things and the way I view them. And it's all through what I feel I have learned and the way it makes sense to me. And I really, truly feel like things make a lot more sense to me these days than they ever have. As confusing and frustrating as things in the world are, a lot of it makes more sense. And I'm not going to go into details because that's not the point. And you and I might not agree. And I want you to know that's okay. That's not the point. I'm not here looking to convince people of anything, to get people to agree with me. That is so not the point. I know exactly where I stand on probably every issue, or at least just about every issue. I'm sure there's stuff out there that I don't understand enough to feel like I can legitimately take an educated position. But at the same time, it's not to say that I have everything figured out by any means, or that I have it figured out in a way that would make sense for everybody, or that would be true for everybody. My reality, my truth, could be completely different than your reality and your truth, and they are both correct. There are so many different paths, so many different beliefs, and with the caveat of, as long as you're not hurting anybody, I don't see how there's a way anyone can tell anybody that they're wrong. Now, there's different definitions of what is harmful and what is not harmful, but we're not going to get into that either. But let's just leave it at that. Because seriously, honestly, it is not the point what anybody's position on anything is. And I'm not talking about one specific thing, because I know what you're probably thinking about. I mean everything, every possible issue that everybody could argue about. But in my personal sense, I just feel like there are some people that I can talk to if I'm feeling frustrated or need to talk something out about one area, but different people for a different area. But then sometimes I get that loneliness sense when it comes in where one area that I need to talk about is affected by the other area, but I don't have somebody who would understand both or be open to both or whatever. And that's where I just started noticing even more about that little bit of loneliness. But again, it's a different loneliness than when I was a kid and I felt lonely because I had no friends. I don't really know how to describe it other than I feel like it's just something that I'm noticing. It's not even really a feeling, like it is, but it's not. It's weird. It's like there's two of me and one of me is noticing that the other one is feeling it. Like my soul is noticing that my ego is feeling a certain way. But everything's still okay. Like it's not anything that's necessarily bringing me down. But I did feel compelled to share about it. And it led me into a conversation kind of with myself. But I had some people who it apparently resonated with, because I got a couple I feel that messages and I got some of the hearts on my stories. But talking really about vibration and what the whole point through everything that goes on in this world is. And the card that I pulled, do you feel my energy shift? Do you feel me getting a little more, not somber, but just different? Because here we go. So the card that I pulled that I was called to share for the collective on my stories that I'm now going to share for you here says karmic relationships, Orion energy, polarity, soul growth, conflict. So I'm not going to read the entire book description. I'm going to share the part that I felt was the part that is meant for the collective. And you go ahead, you relate this to whatever you think it relates to. I am equating it again to every possible thing that we could all, as a collective, fight about. We are all innocent children looking to be seen, understood, and cherished. It's much harder to grow closer through conflict than it is to grow further apart. And yet, that's the invitation of conflict. It's easy to react and take things personally. It's more challenging to see the innocence of all involved and find a way to grow closer through the conflict. It's through relationships that we grow the most. How can you soften your heart and drop your defenses enough to see things from a different point of view? How can you see the innocence of all involved? How can you learn to see the similarities rather than the differences? And my further personal explanation beyond that I added to my stories was just about that at the very core, at the very bottom of everything that we could all possibly fight about, I promise you, we all want the same things. We all have the same true core end goal. The problem comes in that we all keep fighting about the how. And again, I don't mean for any of this to come off preachy. I don't mean for any of it to imply that I think I know better and you don't, because that's not it. That's not what I'm trying to say at all. This is an editorial piece. This is an opinion. This is just me sharing my perspective. If it resonates, take it. If not, leave it. It's okay. I'm, again, not here to convince anybody of anything. I'm not trying to tell you that I'm right and you're wrong or vice versa. There are different truths. There are different realities. And I think we need to go back to the card that I pulled for last week about stepping back and taking a look at the big picture. And I think another important point to make, a good reminder, is that what I've always felt for a really long time is that the minimum that we actually might owe anybody else is understanding. The least we can do is try to understand where people are coming from, and that doesn't come through arguing or berating or telling someone that they're stupid because they don't agree with you. That part, yeah, I am getting a little preachy because I'm really sick of seeing that. Truthfully, I have avoided watching so many people's Instagram stories just because I do not like seeing the holier than thou, you're stupid because you don't agree with me memes and whatnot that keep getting shared. I just don't want to see it. I'm not telling you don't share it if you feel called to share it. It's your page. You do what you want. I believe in free speech. I'm just saying, and same thing for you. Like, I've said that before when just talking about social media and your own energy. If there's something that, like, I guess I hate the word, but if it triggers you, if it upsets you, if it bothers you, if it brings your energy down, if it causes you to be upset for, an entire day or something because you came across something that bothered you that much, then go ahead and don't look at those pages. Unfollow those people. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying maybe that's where a little bit of the loneliness comes in too, because I'm sad because there's people who I want to see what else is going on. And I know, and some of them I've looked through and I'm like, yeah, I can just tap through it. But just knowing that that's there, I just don't like it. And judge me if you want. I don't care. It's just another thing that makes me see personally how different I am. And don't try to figure out what side I'm on unless you already know because we know each other in person. Because again, it's not the point. But let me just interject. I see that attitude from every side. And there's more than two sides. I see that from every side. And I don't think it's helpful. Personal opinion, I know. Maybe you have been successful in changing someone's mind with your approach. That's fine. But for me, it doesn't work. I don't think it's the most effective way, which actually leads me to what the next slide on my stories had been about, which was looking at the vibrational pyramid. I don't know the actual name for it. You can Google it. And I think I promised to share it with the last podcast and I forgot, so I apologize. But if you look at this vibrational frequency chart, it kind of looks like a pyramid and it's smaller at the bottom, gets wider at the top, and it shows you the vibrational level of each of the emotions. And we've talked about this before. If you haven't been here, let me tell you my thoughts, my belief. No emotion is wrong. You haven't done anything bad. You haven't messed up because you feel a lower vibrational emotion. The problem comes in when we stay there, or what I'm about to talk about is when we use those lower emotions as tools to get our way, because I don't think that's the most effective. So I'm doing this from memory. I have it somewhere in my phone, but I'm not going to look it up right now because I need to get this podcast recorded before my kids and I go have fun today and we meet up with my husband. But so often, if we go with this idea, we run with this idea of telling people that they're stupid if they don't think the way that we think, or that we're somehow a bad person, or that we're doing something wrong because we don't agree with them. That, to me, I view that as using guilt and shame as tools to try to create change. And we see that in so many areas of life. And if you look at the chart, you will see specifically guilt and shame are at the very bottom. And if I remember correctly, their vibrations, I don't know if it hertz or something like that. Whatever the mode is, I'm saying this all wrong, but they're at like 20, 30, maybe 40 at the highest. Super low. Whereas love, joy, enlightenment are like 500 and above, 500 to 700. That is a huge leap. So all I'm saying by this is, again, that not that either one is right or wrong, but let's think about it. Forget about everything that's going on in the world for 1 minute. Pretend that everything is hunky-dory. You personally, think of this you personally first. Where would you like your set vibrational point to be? I'm guessing that we would all like to be in the areas of love and joy and enlightenment because that's also more fun. We have been there before. It's not like you haven't been there before. It's not like maybe that's not a majority of the time set point for you. But if it's really easy to dip back into guilt and shame or to use guilt and shame, then you're not necessarily, I'm sorry, I love you, you're not necessarily anchored into those vibrations. And I'm not saying I am either. I don't know. I don't know what my frequency is. I'm hoping that I'm reaching there if I'm not there already. I know guilt and shame can sometimes sting me still, so maybe I'm not as close as I'd like to be yet. We're here on a journey. It's okay. But where do you want to vibrate? Where do you want your frequency to be? And then where would you like the world to be? Probably matching you. Why would you want to live in a frequency that doesn't align with you? That would be such conflict and so stressful. And you know what? It just dawned on me now, that's what's going on. We're fighting so hard against vibrations and frequencies when what we need to do is, at least for a moment here and there, focus on anchoring ourselves where we want to be and allowing that frequency to do its work. That's why I say so often that I believe the best way to effectively uplift everybody, to effectively send the world in the direction that we all want to go, the core way that we all want to go, not the how, not the little minuscule details, the core direction that we all want things to go, all of us, is by working on raising our own frequency living our soul's purpose the way that we are meant to live it personally. And from that point on, we are just naturally, without trying, without being preachy, without telling anyone else that they're wrong, we are just simply walking examples of what's possible when we can live like that. And we're not perfect. None of us are ever going to be always right there. And it's not meant as a way to make you feel pressure like you have to show up as this perfect being with this perfect vibration in order to have an effect on the world. That's not true at all. We do our best. And we remember to always do everything that we possibly can, ideally everything, but everything that we possibly can, first from a place of love. And that is not meant in a cheesy way at all. Love is not a cheesy thing. Coming from a place of love does not mean that you have to be a doormat. Coming from a place of love does not mean that you're never going to argue with somebody, or that you're never going to have to put your foot down, or even that you might never have to fight. But knowing where the beginning point is, if it truly is from a place of love, it's going to have a different outcome than if it's coming from a place of guilt and shame. It just is, because it's a different frequency, and it's so far apart that it's a noticeable difference. And I don't believe that part is an opinion. That's a fact if you look at the vibrational chart. So this is just coming from, honestly, a personal feeling of just being sick of the constant fighting. I mean, it's literally, especially the last couple of years, no matter what you think about anything, I think we can agree it's a literal revolving door of issues. Maybe it's not brand new issues anymore. One of them definitely was. But it's just, it's one thing after another. And at some point, you got to step back and be like, what's going on? And I'm not getting into any rabbit holes or anything like that. That's not what I mean. But honestly, like, take a step back. Why are we still fighting each other all the time? Why is there always such conflict? What can we really do about it? Are we all, myself included, are we all really understanding everything from every possible side without just stopping it at saying, well, you're stupid because you don't agree with me? And I'm not saying that you listening to this, that's what you do. I'm guessing that if you're here, you're probably a little bit at least aligned with me, and you probably don't do that sort of thing. I don't think you would be here if you do that sort of thing. I'm just saying in general, because I know we all see that even if we're not doing it. We're all witnessing that. And that has an effect on us too. Especially if you are an empath, if you are a starseed, you feel these things. You might be someone who is, just as part of your soul's mission, you're someone who's here to transmute all that energy. So you feel it because you are supposed to transmute it into love. That is a hard thing to be tasked with. So I hope this is making sense. I hope it's resonating. I hope that it's not coming off as preachy or holier than thou. Because I hope you're hearing me when I say I am not someone who has it all figured out. I'm not saying I'm right. This is just what I think. That's all. And if it resonates with you, take it. Again, if it doesn't resonate, that's fine. That's okay. But we'll start wrapping this up. But I do have the two other cards that I want to share that I pulled specifically for this episode. So the first one was Earth Pulsing. Pulse of the Mother, slow down, time in nature. And I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read a couple of pertinent points. A mysterious pulse is woven through all of life. The planet itself has a rhythm. You can see it in the seasons and the tides. In our world of artificial lighting, long working hours, and modern conveniences, it's easy for us to feel stuck and off kilter. Many of us today are disconnected from the land beneath us. Somewhere along the way, a severing happened, a moment when it became too painful to stay connected. We feel unsupported and as if we don't belong. If you feel like me, like you're literally now, you've reached a point where you're on the outside of everything, just watching everything go on and be like, how do you not see? Like, take a step back with me, please. But we look to other people and the external world to fill the void of the connection, holding, and belonging once given to us by the earth. longing for others to receive us fully as the mother once did, forgetting that she's here waiting for us to remember and activate the part of us that longs to receive her embrace. When you consciously connect with the earth, a veil is lifted and she opens up and receives you more fully. You're able to drink from her sweet waters and release what no longer serves you. Stagnant energy falls away and you become connected to all things on the planet. We are all connected. We are all one, and we are all one because we are literal pieces of God. And I'm not saying that as an opinion. I'm stating that as a fact. I mean, it's my belief. You can say it's an opinion because it's a belief, but I believe that to be true. I believe that to be a fact. So not that we're supposed to forget about each other, to not be connected to each other, and then just go into connecting with the earth. Getting that grounding connection is what helps us open up the connection for each other that we need. We need to be connected to each other. We need to remember that we are all connected and how we are all connected. And we need to go back to, no pun intended, our roots. So take that one for what you think, but it also, I believe, really connects well to this next one, lifting the veil, questioning everything. Anything unaligned must go. I believe fully that that is what's happening now. More people are like me in that sense. You're starting to question more things. And maybe you come away still feeling the same way about it, and that's fine. But I think we at least need to question what's going on, why things are going on, why we keep giving in to the fighting, why we keep giving in to feeling like we're so separate from other people when we know our souls know the truth that we are also connected. But anything unaligned also must go. There's a change going on. That's why we feel these shifting energies. And I also feel that that's why so much is going on right now, is because so much energetically is shifting. And there's more light on the planet, which doesn't mean that right away everything is going to be so grand because there's all this light. What does light do? It exposes the darkness. That's why all this stuff is coming up, and one thing after another, because it's all being exposed. And we're kind of being forced to deal with it. I'm not saying we shouldn't deal with it. I'm not saying to ignore what's going on and just retreat and focus on yourself. I'm saying the way to fix it all is to start by focusing on yourself and allowing that operating from love and joy to be an example to shine on other people, which might expose someone else's shadows and upset them. But maybe that's how their journey starts. So you can't take that personally like you did something wrong. Maybe you did something right, however unintentionally. I don't know where that came from, but it felt right, so I went with it. Maybe I'm channeling messages right now. I don't know. But lifting the veil, questioning everything, anything unaligned must go. I might read this whole thing, so stick with me for a couple minutes. Things aren't always as they seem. This era is one of uncovering mistruths so we can remember ancient truths, going back to our roots. Everything is in a state of recall and realignment. Anything that isn't in harmony with the planet will not survive. All of these low vibrational things, issues, whatever, not going to survive in the end because the light is getting anchored in. This goes for society and the world at large, as well as in our own lives. If you pull this card, you're being called to energetically scan your life for the things that may no longer be a vibrational match for who you are and how you've grown. You are allowed to change. This is me talking now. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to grow. You are allowed to alter your beliefs if it feels aligned. You don't have to hang on to something just because someone else thinks that because you thought that way or acted that way in the past that you have to still be that person now. You are allowed to grow and change. But also, getting back to the book, to dismantle the systems and ways of being that once served you and others but no longer do. Some star seeds are here to lift the veil between the seen and unseen worlds, to shine a light on things that are inauthentic or unaligned with the survival and well-being of Earth, to stand for and protect those who don't have a voice. Whew. To look deeper and question everything that previous generations did not. Some star seeds, I'm raising my hand right now, cannot tolerate things that aren't congruent. They're here to bring society and humanity back into harmony with the planet and the Creator at large. If we tolerate things in our life that aren't aligned and congruent with it, we add to the misalignment of the planet. I'm going to read that line again because hear it. This is my message. If we tolerate things in our life that aren't aligned and congruent with it, we add to the misalignment of the planet. This is why, me talking again, this is why the best way to combat all of this is to shine our light, is to be ourselves, is to follow our soul's path, to raise our vibration, to allow that vibration to positively affect those around us without us having to get in anyone's face or have arguments necessarily. Like, we just show what's possible. And then people start to wonder, hey, what is she doing? Hey, how is she so high vibe, so happy, so, filled with abundance? Her life is so amazing. And she exudes this confidence that makes me feel like I can do that too. Not the kind of confidence where someone's looking at you thinking, oh, well, they must just be lucky. It's the kind of confidence that makes other people feel like they can have that too. And I don't know why I'm going to cry. Because this is my whole message. This is everything that I've been meaning to say since the day I started this podcast, and things that I've been afraid to say because I didn't know how. Because I didn't want to piss anybody off. I don't want to get into arguments. I don't want to sit here and tell someone else that they're wrong, and I don't want anyone else to tell me that I'm wrong. I want us to understand each other. I want us to be able to move forward the way that we're supposed to. Because we all want the same things. And I'm sorry, I guess it is affecting me. It's this fighting over the how, this constant revolving door. And I know that I'm an empath. I believe that I'm probably a starseed. And so I feel all of it. I said that part about transmuting things into love because I know I've felt that before. I know that I have felt the energy of what's going on. Even when something wasn't directly involving me, it has overwhelmed me in multiple instances, multiple topics, multiple events. And I didn't understand why I was feeling it so hard until I started to go on this journey and start questioning things and start understanding things from a different perspective. I'm starting to get it and know why I'm here. But I'm still human, and sometimes it's just a lot. And that's why maintaining and being able to take charge of your own energy is so important. Hold on to that thought. I want to finish what the book says. I'm sorry for crying. I'm not even going to cut that out because I think it's important. Here it is. I finally reached that point. I knew one day I was going to get here, and here it is. I kind of thought even before I recorded this that it might be. Okay. Last section of what this says for lifting the veil and questioning everything, and that everything unaligned must go. You're being called to trust yourself, notice what's out of alignment, and then take the baby steps required to bring it back into harmony. This is no easy feat, but it's so worthwhile, both individually and for the planet. I don't know what else to say because I feel like I've said everything I needed to say. If you're still here, thank you. I really believe that our positions on whatever topic isn't the point. I do believe that there's evil out there, that there's frustrating things out there, that there's stress out there, different levels of that frustration. I don't think it's supposed to be ignored, but I don't think that the way we keep trying to fix it is the best way. Maybe it's a longer game that will eventually help it. I don't know. But this is not going to make any sense, but because I keep calling this the long game, the setting the example, the being the example, the being the love, the shining in your lights, that's the long game. But in comparison to the other ways that we've been trying to fix things, I believe that what I'm calling the long game with our vibration and being the example is actually the shorter game in comparison to the other options, if that makes sense. Well, thank you for being here. Please do share this if it sparked something in you, if it made sense to you, if you feel like more people need to hear it, if I made sense. If you need help getting in touch with and shifting your energy to be where you want to be, that's what I'm here for. So come book a Reiki session. Come book an Akashic Records session. If you're not ready for that, let's do a card reading and get you at least the starting confirmation point of what you've been questioning and wondering about. Very soon, I know I keep promising things, but I'm getting things more in alignment and sorted out. So things will be coming together shortly. But very soon, leading up to the launch of my first Reiki 1 course, that's also going to include ways to help you improve your confidence and really embrace the weirdness and the being different and stepping into your soul's purpose. I am planning to run a masterclass all about taking control of your own energy, that you can shift and move energy, that it is a thing, that you are meant to do that you are meant to be your own healer. And a step further, if this is for you, to help be the healer for people who are not yet ready to embrace the idea of being their own healer. But we all have that within us. We are all perfectly designed. We are designed to heal. We actually don't ever have to break. In the human reality, I think it's almost unavoidable. But that doesn't mean it's not possible. So if I have gotten my butt in gear by the time I release this, you'll find a link in the show notes to get on the wait list for that masterclass. If not, stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram and hop inside the Energy Within Facebook group, because those are the places that you'll hear about it first when it is launched, the wait list that is, and you'll get all the details and the dates. It's going to be free. And it's most likely going to happen inside the Energy Within Facebook group one way or another. So make sure you get your booty in there. Make sure you answer the questions. It's okay. I'd like you to be on my email list, but it's okay if you don't want to give me your email. At least answer the other questions so that I know that you are a real person and someone who is intentionally wanting to join the group and not just some rando person who stumbled upon it on Facebook and might be looking to spam people or something like that. I just want to protect the energy of the group. So I think I've talked long enough. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time.